Hello YouTube! Welcome to another guide, this time covering Carlotta. I will tell you all you need to know about how to play, build and date her. Okay, maybe not the last part. I also have a showcase of her in action in tower and against some hologram bosses at the end of the video, so if you want to jump directly to action, I will leave the timestamps down below. With that said, let's get started. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, it helps a lot. Let's first go over her kit. Her basic attack, Silent Execution, is a 2-hit combo that provides her with 3 moldable crystals, which are those things that show up on her left side. We'll explain them more later. When Carlotta has crystals, her basic attack is replaced with an empowered basic attack called Necessary Measures. This is a 3-hit combo that consumes 1 crystal for each hit. So you generate 3 crystals with the basic attack and then you consume them with the empowered one. Carlotta's heavy attack is not an A mode as other pistol users, but she leaves behind those cool shadows, dashing towards the enemy and shooting it point blank. Carlotta's middle attack is split in 2. First she plunges, and then if you press the basic attack right away, she will do a short dash backwards and perform a follow-up attack. When Carlotta dodges, she will also launch a riposte, and this consumes 1 crystal. Her resonance skill, Art of Violence, will freeze the target for 1.5 seconds. And yes, this actually works on bosses. You will then be able to cast another ability called Chromatic Splendor, in which she will jump on top of the enemy and consume all crystals to deal damage. Her Liberation has 3 parts. The first time you cast it, she will deal AoE damage in an area and apply deconstruction to everything she struck. This is a debuff that shreds 18% of the defense. Carlotta will then enter her Tango state, during which she will be able to attack up to 4 times, each attack being called Death Kneel, and will dash forward in the direction you input with your keyboard keys. This is completely single target and locks you from using your regular basic or heavy attacks. After she uses the last Death Kneel, she will be able to use Fatal Finale, which ends her liberation and deals massive AoE damage in a single line. Lastly, her Forte circuit. In order to use it, Carlotta requires 120 points of substance. There are 2 ways to get this. She gets 30 points when she casts her intro, and she gets 10 points for every crystal she consumes. To recapitulate, there are 3 ways for her to consume crystals: when she dodges, when she uses her empowered basic, and when she uses the second part of her skill, Chromatic Splendor. As for getting those crystals, Carlotta gets 3 crystals each time she uses her regular basic attack, heavy attack, intro skill, resonance skill, Art of Violence, dodges, or uses the middle attack follow-up. When you have 120 points of substance, Carlotta's heavy attack is replaced with Imminent Oblivion, which consumes all substance, reduces the cooldown of the resonance skill by 6 seconds, but more importantly, puts Carlotta in the final boss state. This state provides an 80% damage multiplier to her next liberation and lasts until Final Fatale is cast. The Forte has a 22-second cooldown, and you can tell when it is available by the color of the crystal in the middle of the Forte bar. If it is red, then it is ready to be used. Also keep in mind, her Forte and her Liberation all deal resonance skill damage similar to Jinshi. Carlotta's first inherent skill makes her invincible while using the second part of her resonance skill, and also decreases the flight stamina cost of your team. Her second inherent skill makes it so she can apply deconstruction, the thing that before she could only apply with her Liberation, with her intro, the second part of her skill, Death Kneel, and her Forte attack. Basically applying the 18% defense shred debuff with anything. Her combo is straightforward. Carlotta needs a period of warming up at the start of combat. You do this by using both parts of your skill followed by the echo. Switch then to your teammates and set up the buffs, and then go back to Carlotta. Up again her skill 2 times, followed by a basic attack to plunge as you will end up in midair. You then press the heavy attack to use her forte since you'll have full gauge, followed by activating the liberation. Press the liberation 4 times to shoot the dead kneels, followed by a last press to use final fatale. Use again both parts of her skill, followed by echo, and switch back to your team. Rinse and repeat. For weapons, her signature is obviously her best in slot, provides attack, crit damage and resonance skill damage. However, the skill buff will only have full uptime for Carlotta. Next is the standard 5-star Static Mist. The ability is pretty much worthless as Carlotta is the DPS and she only needs very little energy regen, but the base attack and crit rate make this the second best weapon. Lastly are the 4-star pistols. They are pretty much equal in terms of performance, with the only difference being how easy it is to get and maintain their buffs. Thunderbolt has the highest buff but requires constant weaving of basics, which will mess your combo, hurt your DPS, and sometimes you might even forget to wave those basics in, so I don't recommend this weapon. Similarly, Nova Burst depends on dodges and Pistol 26 on not getting hit, so they two are out. That leaves us with Undying Flame and Romancing Farewell. Out of the two, Romancing Farewell is craftable and has pretty much permanent uptime in Carlotta. Don't forget she applies the deconstruction debuff constantly. For echoes, we are looking for the Frosty Resolve set with the Sentry Construct as the main echo. As main stats, you are looking for crit rate on your 4-cost echo if you are using either her signature or a 4-star pistol, and you are looking for crit damage if you use Static Mist. For 3 costs, you are looking for glacial damage, and for 1 cost, attack percent. As substats, make sure you have at least 15% energy recharge first of all, or you are gonna mess your rotations. Then crit, attack percent, resonance skill damage, and flat attack. For skills, level up your liberation, followed by resonance skill, and lastly forte. Intro and basic attack provide so little that you might as well leave them at 1. Her best team is with Zezi and Verina or Shorekeeper. Needless to say, Zezi's outro provides skill damage and glacial damage buff, which Carlotta can take full advantage of. If you don't have Zezi, you can use Lumi or Tauki, as both provide skill damage buff, but yeah, start saving for Zezi's rerun. If you don't have Verina or Shorekeeper, just one question: how? But anyway, you can use by Z. Let's take a look at her sequences. Her first sequence provides basically a 12.5% crit rate buff and allows her to skip the warming up part of her combo, saving her 3 whole seconds in the tower. Overall, not that good of a sequence. Her sequence 2 provides huge damage buff to her liberation, which is the bulk of her damage. Overall, it is amazing, but having to get the first one along the way dilutes just how worth this actually is. I will still not consider pulling for this. Her third sequence adds a huge 1000% attack damage hit to Carlotta's outro, and also buffs her resonance skill. This is the first point where I consider you should stop, as both sequence 2 and 3 are amazing and make up for the mediocre first sequence. Her fourth one is a 25% resonance skill damage for your entire team. But only Carlotta will truly take advantage of it, let's be honest. This is pretty underwhelming and not worth. Same with her sequence 5, as it only increases the forte, which is a very small part of her total DPS. Finally, her sequence 6 is, as expected, absolutely broken. It essentially doubles the damage of your death kneel shots, and each of them now also immobilizes the enemy for 1.5 seconds, just like the first part of her skill. This alone makes up for the previous two bad sequences and is the second point you should stop at, aka the Whale Harbor. Now, as I mentioned, the best points to stop for sequences are 3 and 6, getting around 0.25% damage increase per radiant tide used. But how about the weapon? As you can see, you get 0.31% more damage per tide, making the signature weapon overall more worth than any of her sequences. Well, the time for words is over, now is the time for action. Enjoy!
Found your weak spot. Still resistant. Iron graft renewed. Loading. Instantly capture the start! A new technique. My compliment. Brilliance lights the way. Victory favors me. A new era awaits. Improvise. Still recognize me? Ordained. In war with time. Loading. Witness the artful form. A new technique. My compliment. Running won't save me. You will yield. Glory demands more. Running won't save me. Still recognize. In war with time. Loading. Instantly capture the start! Inside. A new technique. My compliment. The stage is set. Victory favors me. Quickly and swiftly. A new era awaits. Still recognize me? Vow from the soul. Iron graft renewed. Institution! Art unveiled! Inside! A new technique. My compliment. Found your weak spot. Brilliance lights the way. Glory demands more. Is that it? Masterpiece complete. Take this! Still recognize me? Ordained. In war with time. Loading. Institution! Capture the spark! Inside. A new technique. My compliment. The stage is set. Surrender. Still recognize me. you knew. Witness the Arch True Form. Infra. My tired. You will yield. Victory favors me. Understood. I am here to serve your will.